Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome back, or welcome to
The Memory Millionaires podcast.
We are survivors of government service,
Cancer.
world travel,
And parenting. We are here to share stories and insights to help illuminate your path towards a happier, healthier lifestyle.
Hi everybody, Ian from the editor's desk. The desk right behind the desk where we film. Wanted to give you a quick insight into what is in this first episode of the podcast. I explore how our individual evolution or pursuits come together to form a memory millionaire. Megan defines her vision for an elevated woman, her individual pursuit, and foundations for feminine wellness that she's pursuing. And we talk about how a partner has a responsibility to the feminine wellness in a relationship, and how modern living contradicts beneficial living. I hope you enjoy this episode. We're going to go right into it. Stick around till the end. Thanks very much.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
It's you and I who are striving to be memory millionaires. And while striving to be memory millionaires, we are independently creating our own paths and our own growth, trying to complement memory millionaires together and live to see our play with our great grandkids.
Well, also trying to live up to certain standards that we set for our life, right? Like we have
Principles. Right. Yeah, first principles. Values.
our core values.
So what is the podcast? Is the podcast us coming together with our independent things and riffing on? Because you're going in someplace that I can't understand. What is the theft of power from women, the quieting of their strengths?
No, that's not what I'm going into. I'm going into I don't want to talk about with women about how their voices and their intuition and everything has been suppressed or impacted by society and their community and their surroundings because women already know that. I want to talk about coming into their power, trusting their intuition, being a strong person. So,
But you're navigating, instead of succumbing to that, you're navigating how to be it despite the social normalcy of, no, you don't have to push during labor. You don't have to feel anything during labor. We can just schedule you the baby removal process.
right.
And you don't have to take time off for your cycle. We'll just give you drugs and absorbing pads, and you can go right back to work. You don't need to be loud. We're going to enable you by default. And there, now everything's even. Don't be individual. Just be 50% of the workforce.
Yeah. Well, I guess that my goal is not to focus on the
Those truths.
but to talk about how you can gain your power back rather than the ways it's been taken away. So, how can you feel empowered through your pregnancy and labor? How can you feel empowered during your menstrual cycle? How can you feel empowered in your work?
Sexuality.
And sexuality, right. So I think enough talking is being done about, I as a woman and the women I talk to already know all the places that we're supposed to be sexy and seductive and all these things, but also we're supposed to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
We already know that, right? We don't need to be told that. We don't need to talk about that. What I believe most women need, because that's where I've found the benefit in working with coaches and mentors, is how do I find my power as a woman and in my femininity, and how do I embrace that, and how do I incorporate my divine femininity into my life? Right? So it's not pointing out that
It's not activism.
right, it's not activism, it's embodiment. It is being the feminine. I don't need to be told all the ways that I've been disempowered in my femininity. I already know all those. I need to embrace all of those ways. I now know that I can embrace my femininity, which is living cyclically. Like certain times of the month are just, I'm going to be more productive during certain times of the month. I'm going to be more creative during certain times of the month. I'm going to need to rest more and be more introspective during certain times of the month. And most women don't know that cycle. Or they don't even have that cycle because it's been suppressed. And they don't even... Chemically suppressed.
Emotionally, probably.
Emotionally, societally suppressed. Like, no, you're gonna perform the same way because that's the societal standard. Is
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Why would you be any different? You wanted this.
It's like we're not a factory, though. I mean, even males aren't. Even males have cycles, but they're not the same as the females that are very predictable of, a 28 to 32 day cycle. Aren't
ours 24 hour?
I mean,
they're far more.
Yes and no. There are.
No. I don't mean. I'm just asking. Did you? I haven't looked into this. Marjana and Greg actually mentioned this to me, but that we males do have a cycle.
Yeah.
Ours is far more rapid.
Yeah, and it's that 24 hour. That's why I believe that's why we're on a 24-hour clock, is because the males have that. Like, my testosterone peaks at this time, and then it starts to wane, and then it's time to sleep and reset and go back into.
What would a female work cycle look like?
Dating.
Wow, that's deep.
That is deep.
Okay, so your path, how does it bolster Memory Millionaires?
Well, I think my path bolsters Memory Millionaires because a lot of the work that we're going to do is I'm going to need to know, we're both going to need to know, like, when is Megan in the mood to be creative and outgoing and do a podcast versus when is Megan...
Are you feeling creative and outgoing?
Well, right now my cycle is not a normal cycle.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
so
still, are you feeling that?
Yeah, I'm okay with doing a podcast now.
Okay.
But like during gestation is not the time when my hormones are...
Okay. Well, talk about embodiment and empowerment. Men are not going to recognize that. Maybe we start to learn it. Right. Maybe I start to learn it, but it's going to take...
But I think that's where I tie into Memory Millionaires is I might tell you at some point, like, hey, you take over on this podcast because I'm really in a more introspective mode. And this is really on you because you're outgoing and that's just who you are. And I am outgoing too, but I'm not going to be outgoing every day.
Regularly?
There's going to be a period every month when we get to that where I'm probably going to want a little more time to myself and have downtime and journal and write out all my ideas and not talk about them. Not be interfacing with people. So by me helping you understand that, I think we can help other people understand that. And it's not just males, it's females too. I talk to females every day who have no idea what...
And you're the first person to talk about it that way. That is... It is this point in your cycle. I'm not going to ask you to pick up heavy weights.
Right.
But next week, you better be ready.
Yeah. And what I'm working in now, personal training specifically, is I want my clients to tell me where they are in their cycles. And honestly, everyone that comes to the gym, I would love for them to say, yeah, I'm due to start my period in 3 days. They're like, okay, then we are taking what's on the board, and I would love to say, this is the workout that's written today, and instead of a basic performance advance metric, we still keep that up there, but I also want luteal phase, follicular phase, menstrual phase, ovulation. I want that on the board too, right? You should be...
What's stopping you?
You should be modifying your workouts for each phase of your cycle.
Is it just time that you have to get there that early and
it's time, it's
program all that?
But it's more education. Most women I talk to don't know. They know, okay, this is when my period starts. Or, oh, I'm expecting my period in the next 5 to 7 days. But beyond when they're menstruating, most women I talk to don't know what it means.
If there is a phase.
If there is a phase, yeah. Depending on what kind of birth control on, then there's not really a phase. It's that's whole nother rant.
Subject.
Whole nother can of worms to get into. Yes, whole nother topic that I could talk a long time about. But it all boils down to education. Like, I understand all this. Some of my clients understand this, but I need the women that are coming to the gym to understand this. I need the coaches to understand this. And I need everyone to be on board. Well, everyone doesn't have to be on board. You can still come into the gym and do whatever you want, right? That's up to you. But if I could provide that education, which is one of my next goals, and allow the female members of the gym, the menstruating members of the gym, to make that decision for themselves.
Well, yeah, and have the choice available.
And at least just have the knowledge of, oh yeah, I'm ovulating, so like, I'm really gonna like feel powerful in the gym. Or my period's gonna start tomorrow. I should really just take it easy and like not push myself on cardio. Maybe instead of doing cardio, I lift more weight. But then, yeah, there's all different levels of ways that I see that working or not working.
So two Memory Millionaires, elevated woman is going to educate more mindfulness, health-oriented couples.
Yes.
Groups.
Because I think my belief is that a woman coming more in touch with her natural cycle and her femininity is only going to enhance a relationship. Because if I know what my needs are and where I am in my cycle emotionally, because there are changes in emotions, like most men probably know that.
Within the last few days, yeah, I've had. What do you mean? In women, there's
women.
changing in emotions
Yeah,
in women. Yes,
like throughout a menstrual cycle, right? But if you knew, and I think that was my goal before I got pregnant, was you know where I am in my cycle, so you know what my sex drive is like, what my emotions might be like, what my energy levels might be, because if you're just going off like every day is a new day and I'm going through that reset every day like you are, and I think most couples operate like that because...
No, they're all working to the weekend. I shouldn't say they're all. Most people are working at the rhythm of their jobs, not their bodies.
Right, and unfortunately...
Not the seasons.
Most people can't work to the rhythm of their bodies and the seasons. But if you could at least understand how to structure your day-to-day life, like, okay, well, there's these 5 to 7 days where instead of getting up at 6 a.m. and working out or, doing whatever, I'm going to stay in bed and sleep that extra half hour to an hour because my energy levels are going to be low because I'm shedding the lining of my uterus. My iron levels are probably going to dip, so I need to change the type of food we're eating. Now this allows Okay, if we're meal planning, this allows us to look at the month and say, okay, now this part of the month we need to focus on these certain types of foods. And that helps you just create a structured meal plan. And I think a lot of people, once they start to change their diet, start to see improvements in their health and their mood and their output.
This is
Right.
foundational that we're just moving right past.
Yeah, like if you understood how your hormones in your body work and how you could just change
What time you wake up or how you move,
what time you wake up, how you exercise, what you eat
what you eat.
throughout the month. You could just tweak that a little bit every 5 to 7 days.
And make exponential change.
Yeah. Like, what if you could feel 10 to 20% better just by saying, okay, during these 3 days, I need to really eat high iron content food. And I'm going to feel way better. I'm going to have higher energy levels.
So bringing that to Memory Millionaires.
Yeah, back to Memory Millionaires.
Well, I have responsibility to learn it and translate to the male male portion of the couple. What does that mean? What do I do? How do I learn? How do we who is on a 24-hour cycle and insignificantly impacted by it, whereas you are significantly impacted by it,
Well,
bring it into practice?
Well, a partner, your husband, your wife, your whatever your partner you call your partner,
Partner, I think a partner.
they're called your significant other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
their body, their feelings, what they're going through should be significant to you. It should be important that they feel good, they feel empowered. So, yeah, it's up to a woman to understand her cycle and take charge of that, but as my partner, as my significant other, isn't it also important to you that I'm taken care of and that
To me,
we understand that our relationship isn't always going to be 50-50. We've talked about like that goal of
everything
My-
is shared. Everything is equal.
yeah, everything's equal, everything's balanced,
No, it's not. But it's not.
but it's not. And yeah, most of the time my goal is to be contributing more. Like if I'm doing more and hopefully you're doing more, then we're both just keeping
60-40.
yeah, if
I expect to provide 60. You expect to provide 60. But I expect you to be responsible for 40 while I do 60. And you think the same thing.
right.
That means both of us are
Right. We're both trying to do more.
overachieving.
But
Not overachieving.
life is we can't always be giving 60%. And there's
Trying.
cyclically certain periods, like the first 2 to 3 days of a woman's menstrual cycle, honestly she'd like be doing very little, like resting as much as possible,
And we see that happen, and to the uneducated or to the programmed, we think they're bitchy or moody
Yeah.
or
Irrational.
standoffish,
Yeah.
irrational.
I can't deal with you right now. Well, that's because naturally my
True.
body needs a reset right now.
Mm.
And there are countries in the world, I don't know how many, but Spain is the most recent that has enacted a law that's women get, I think, 3 days of menstrual leave every month. So it's like, you get this time off work. Because we know for you to be more productive for the next 25 days, if we give you these 3 days, that's going to benefit us.
Yeah, inside those 3 days, if you were to force yourself to perform, you'd have a net negative on your mind state.
A negative on your battery level.
Mhm.
It's like, do you want to be constantly running your battery at 10%, or would you like to charge it up to 100?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Battery. Juice.
Yeah.
Okay, so there. What is that? I go back to, so how does that complement Memory Millionaires? Just trying to define it. I see that it is complementary, but I'm trying to define it or simplify it. The feminine.
I think it's just overarching understanding cyclical living. Because it's not just women's menstrual cycles.
It's the seasons.
It's the seasons. And we're very accustomed to, because of modern technology, seasons aren't as important as they used to be. But our biology and our bodies haven't caught up to the technology. You know, our hormones and our bodies are still operating on how they did in the past, when it was you only ate berries in the summer and you got fresh meat throughout the fall and winter, and you know, then
Fresh meat? Frozen?
Yeah.
Frozen.
Fresh meat. Fall, winter, fresh meat. And then once you get into spring, you're not out hunting, because that's when animals are having babies. You're not getting fresh meat all summer long, unless you're fishing, really. The fall is like, that's your time. Fresh meat. You still have meat throughout the year. Winter, you're eating meat.
This is nothing I've ever explored.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you go somewhere where hunting is a part of the culture, you know, like, hunting season starts most places around Thanksgiving time. That's what's in my mind. And then by February-ish, you're not, like, you might be able to get something, but that's not right. But we don't live like that. You can get fresh meat anytime. You can go out and buy strawberries at the market any time of year. You can.
Those are not strawberries.
You can
I don't know
always
what those
have
are, but they don't.
fresh food, right? But that's not how our bodies are adapted either. Right? In the summer, you're waiting for the harvest, so you're eating all the things that you've stored throughout the year, whether that's dried meat or dried.
Why would we sacrifice the strawberries all year long, pineapple all year long, bananas all year long? Why, I get fresh meat anytime I want.
I don't think we need to. I think we just need to understand that our bodies still have this
memory,
their own cycles.
Habit
of the days are longer in the summer, because that's when you should be staying up late doing the work, going out and tilling the land, planting your crops, tending to things. And then in the fall, you're hunting, you're harvesting. And then winter rolls around and we slow down. We spend more time indoors. We sleep longer, right? Animals hibernate. But in not too long ago, what did humans do when nighttime rolled around?
Slept.
Maybe we had fires, but probably we're sleeping. We weren't lighting bonfires. Yeah, we weren't lighting bonfires every night and having a huge bonfire and staying up until midnight every night. But what do people do now? Well, we turn on the lights, we turn on the TV, we have, giant celebrations and parties and things.
Yeah. Well, talk about Spain. They eat dinner at 10.
Well, that's not necessarily. That's a whole different. Yeah.
I just mean that's an example of the social. The social evolution is devolving what we have grown into through evolution,
right,
which is adapting to.
So just like there's our monthly menstrual cycles, there's also this yearly cycle that we go through, that now through the advent of electricity and modern farming and all that, we can have anything, anytime. We can stay up as late as we want, have as much entertainment we want, do anything we want, and we're not going through that cycle as a society, as like humankind of winter we rest, we slow down.
And we've even bastardized or modified the traditions that did follow that to be these
Big
excess
celebrations where we have taken what are considered more like pagan holidays and celebration of the seasons, and now they're big,
spend, buy,
spend money,
eat,
see lights bright all the time. I mean, even day to day, like it gets dark out, should be winding down, be preparing for the cycle of sleep. But how many people have TVs in their bedrooms? Like, what percentage of people have TVs in their bedrooms?
Look that up.
I don't know, but
it's on the screen now. Edit.
Most people, I don't want to say most people, many people have a TV in their bedroom. Most people are...
They made it. They finally got a TV in their bedroom where they can watch The Office.
Most Americans are watching, I think the average is 3 hours of TV every night.
So that's it? Well, at night. Oh,
at night.
Okay. Wow.
So, how much is that affecting our natural cycles? So all of this ties into
your exploration, your expose of the truths about the feminine are complementary to longevity, to intimacy, to happiness. I mean, it's something we've passed over, squashed, drugged out. So, renaturalizing, rewilding, those kind of terms that people are attracted to and don't actually take action in. Memory Millionaires wants to amplify that.
Yeah, and it's not going to be... I don't expect everyone to give up lights or TV or, enjoying their wintertime festivities, but it's more of the understanding. The more people that understand this and maybe find an importance to this, it's like, are there small changes, fixes maybe, that you can make in your life that are going to affect your overall well-being?
Yeah, these are not hacks. These are not shortcuts. These are foundational decisions that people are overlooking and overriding.
Right, and I can...
People, but especially couples, because when we enter into a partnership, it's a partnership. So if one is just constantly under I don't know what's the right word. One side of the partnership is handicapped by ignoring these foundational things. No wonder there's a high divorce rate. No wonder there's difficulty in marriages.
Right. And there's
foundational wrongs.
And there is, within the work that I've been doing in the feminine and exploring the feminine, there is a lot of discussion, or at least I've had a lot of discussion about also honoring the divine, or the, the manhood, the masculine. Like, there is no desire for me to say the divine feminine, this is me embracing my feminine and me embracing my cycle is more important than you embracing your masculinity and finding your power as a man. Because there are many things in society that are also contrary to you behaving as a man, right?
Well, especially lately, is what you mean?
But I mean, we can probably think of a lot of examples where men are told not to behave a certain way, or
Don't yell, don't cry.
yeah, even men. Okay, men are their feminine sides are suppressed.
I don't even think you can call it. Well, that's where there's a departure.
Right.
It's a feminine side. No, it's masculine to cry.
Yeah, but there is a balance of a feminine energy and a masculine energy in males and females, right? Like my masculine energy is more of the like do, and then my feminine energy is more of the like be and create. And that's just, there's a balance of that, right? Like, but there's a lot of ways that a man's masculinity is suppressed in our society as well.
Is that the truth within the Memory Millionaires podcast, that you are exploring the feminine and I am exploring the masculine?
Well, I am most definitely exploring the feminine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just, we're talking to someone. We're talking to people, and there are those who want to hear this. And there are those who don't know they want to hear this, but need to hear this. And there are people that this won't resonate with at all.
At all, right.
And to make this productive, we have to focus in on who it is going to surprise, who it is going to compliment, and who is just going to ignore it.
Well, I think a lot of it
can't just put it out there and say, like and comment and subscribe.
I think a lot of this is,
I guess we can, but
providing information and giving people tools to enable them to be more, I don't know if self-reliant is the right word, is the right term for it, but
life's hard.
Life is hard, and there's a lot of things that you're going to encounter every day that are contrary to your beliefs,
Things hurt. Life hurts. And I feel different from it. A lot.
Yeah.
And so do you. And so do women. And so do men. And so do couples. So what do you do to combat that? It's not combat, but adapt within that. And there's things that you and I have learned as a couple, as independents, as individual souls going through this life, that we've seen each other do and said, I know someone that could help.
And I think there's a lot of us going through our lives and catching ourselves being complacent or noticing complacency and saying, oh, we don't want to be complacent in our lives. We don't want to just go to work every day to keep up with the Joneses and have I've got the use it or lose it leave, and I've got the boat and the truck and the the house and the whatever.
I want a boat.
Yeah, but I think what we've realized is
recognized. Oh, man, realized. Yeah, realized.
For us, and this is for us, this isn't for everyone, but is it worth my day-to-day happiness and joy and also maybe long-term health?
There is sacrifices to be made for a future that we desire. It doesn't have to be your individuality. It doesn't have to be your femininity. It doesn't have to be your youth.
And what I want from my present and my future is going to be so different than what other people want from their present and their future. And I think that's where things like our core values really come into play of, do we as a couple and as a family know what our core values are? Well, yes, we've talked about it a lot, but do you and your family know your core values? Do you know what you are striving for as a couple, as a family? Do you know why you're going to work every day?
Yeah. If you are sacrificing your youth, your femininity, your time, your freedom, what's it for?
Yeah, what is it for?
Is it for maintaining that grandma that's in a nursing home so that she can have a good rest of her life? Is it for that great big house that you have all the family over for every occasion at all times? Is it for
your retirement?
Yeah.
Right?
Is it for something you can't even define? Well,
So, yeah, that core values, if you don't have them, please reach out to us. We have a great core values exercise. We've done it 2-3 times.
inside the times we've done it, it took us 2 or 3
and it's
times.
been very beneficial in all of our decision making. Not all. Big decisions, though, it's what is this decision do we need to make? All right, well, let's look at our core values, because if the decision we're making doesn't line up with those core values, then either this decision is wrong or our core values aren't what we say they are. So there's that. The core values help from there to kind of give you a roadmap of, this is how I see my life now. And this is what I want my future to look like. And then you have to look at your behaviors now and what you desire from the future and say, well, how bad do I want that? Because if we want to meet our great-grandkids, not only meet our great-grandkids, play with our great-grandkids.
Oh, that gets me so excited.
Our actions today are an impact in our actions right now, our choices right now are a reflection of how bad do we actually want to play with our great-grandkids. And are we living to that desire? Because we can say we want it all we want.
I'm going to play with my great-grandkids one day. Drinking, eating McDonald's, I don't know, staying up, watching 3 hours of TV every night, sitting at the desk job, waiting for that day where you're going to get to play with your great-grandkids.
Right, but you and I have made a lot of decisions that are hopefully going to get us to that point. If you come to our house, you won't see a TV, you won't see a couch, you won't see fast food on our bank statement. You're gonna see our family sitting outside most nights of the week, because these are things that we've determined for us, and this isn't espousing this on anyone and saying that what we're doing is better than what you're doing. We're saying what we're doing is the right thing for what we want.
Why should they continue to listen? Why should they tune in now?
I think that we have done a good job in the past and with ourselves of determining and helping other people determine, like, what is it that you really want? We've helped other people talk to their significant others or talk about their own values, talk about their goals and what they see for themselves in the future. And once there's that awareness of this is what I want for my future, then even if what you want from the future is vastly different from what we want, then there's layering in the education and the action and, taking the steps like we have done to make those changes. And some of them are little changes, like us getting rid of chairs. That was a little change, but it's made a big impact. Some of those changes might be really big changes, like us leaving our jobs where we were each making
Careers
where we were on our way to each making six figures.
within like the next year.
Yeah, and just...
Would have been a dual 6-figure income household.
And not everyone's going to be able or willing to make that decision. But it's coming back to that. How bad do you want what you say you want?
So is this for the people looking to make a change? They don't know where to start.
I think looking to make a change, but also those people that don't even know what they want.
They just feel restless, or they feel uncomfortable.
Restless or uncomfortable, or they feel like they're in this trajectory that life has set them on because, I got a job and it pays me well, and then I got a house and now I have a mortgage and I have a car payment, and is all this stuff actually making me happy? Is this actually what I want? Well, I've never actually taken the time to figure out what I want. So I think that might be where people are coming to us is, I don't know, I'm just on this path because this is the path that was set before me, and I don't actually know what I desire most. I don't know what is most important to me. But I bet you if I set that list of core values in front of you and told you just start crossing out things that don't matter to you and circling things that are important to you, after hours, maybe even days, depending on the person, they're going to whittle that down and they're going to know the things that are most important to them. And then we can start to talk about, all right, what does that look like in your life? What does this mean for you? Does this
Where are you doing that already? Where could you be doing it better?
Yeah, does this mean a radical change in your life? Or does this mean like things are going well and we just need to tweak things a little bit?
We should find out who's dinging our door.
Yeah.
Someone is downstairs ringing the doorbell rapidly. It's probably one of our own.
I think it's Colin.
I think it's interesting they haven't even come in. They just want to ding the doorbell to see if we come.
They're playing outside, which is where we prefer them to be. Because if you can't tell, it's sunny and beautiful.
It's a beautiful day. That felt like an interview of you. And I think that's just fine.
I have a lot to talk about.
I think that's just fine.
Especially when it comes to...
I think it'll trade off if we just give it space and time. I think it'll come like... I think capturing the phone calls is where usually my riffing comes out. Because you're just listening most of the time.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've been
more vocal
This is the first time you've been passionate speaking with this on and this on your chest.
Well, this is
didn't matter to you.
First time that we've actually done a podcast since I've started doing this work.
So, it seems to be working.
It does seem to be working.
Well, you are embodying it.
Yeah.
You did the work. You passed, whatever tasks were set before you, but you took it and are...
Well, I did the work and then not only saw the work benefit me, but I...
Saw the gaps?
I see the gaps and I see where... Because I work with a lot of women... I see every day where women are undermining their own power, and that's because societally, culturally, that's just kind of how we've been raised. And honestly, like, I can tell you that all day, but I don't think you or any other man is going to understand unless you... No, there's no way to understand, because if you've never been a young girl and had these things, like, constantly repeated to you or shown to you on TV, in music...
It makes me sad just thinking about even understanding some of it.
Yeah. Like, that's... I go back and forth of, like, being really sad that I won't have a daughter, to empower through her life, but also I think
There's
I'm only one person.
It's a yeah.
And if all, I'm giving my daughter all the power, but as she goes out in society and isn't receiving that outside of the home, then... So instead, I get to raise 3 boys who get to learn how to understand a menstrual cycle, and that, hey, let's leave mom alone today because she started her period. Like, that might...
They did that. They gave you a she shed. Or what was it? There was a closet or like an outhouse or something they would send women to.
Yeah, we hear a lot about sending women away to their menstrual tents and
menstrual tent.
Whatever they're called.
It wasn't even a shack. It wasn't even a shed.
And there's been a lot of negativity around that. But actually,
you might want one.
Actually, in the past and in different cultures, that separate place for the women to go menstruate was actually probably a place of congregation and a lot of care and
it's a
more of a
aid station.
Yeah, more of an aid station, and not being so much being sent away, but being like, okay, you're gonna go be with other women who know how to care for you.
Yeah, I'm over here shucking corn. I'm not.
And understand your needs at this time where, yeah, there's a lot of history of that has been kind of convoluted and misunderstood and seen as a negative, which is another tangent I could go off on, so we'll just...
Oh, yeah. We're
15 minutes.
50 minutes. Okay, we can chop this up quite a bit.
Yeah. Is that all?
No. Nope. No,
Okay.
That's why we got to do this more often. This was quick.
Quick,
repeatable. Yellow background. Blue shirts.
for now.
Blue eyes.
I don't
Why?
have blue eyes.
What do you want to do with the background?
What if we aren't living in our house?
Oh, then it's the scene behind the van.
Yeah.
Near the van. Maybe, the chairs can swivel around. We just park the van with a view out the front.
I also think that there could be a dual camera thing so that we can look at each other and...
Definitely. We could do that now.
Yeah.
We just need another stand.
All right, let's go see who's at our house.
Okay. Wait. Don't go. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and share via review or post how this episode complemented your life.
Thank you for listening. Connect with us on Instagram or Facebook at Memory Millionaires. Be well.